Check, check. All right, can you guys hear me now? All right, sweet. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why they default sometimes or like reset themselves. It makes no sense. Okay, give me a second. You guys can see me set up my scripts for the day. I am running late. All right, we'll get going here. Sorry, that took me a second to do. Cool. So welcome, guys. September 15th, we'll get going to pre-market prep. So as always, right, starts in our Discord, starts with the SPX game plan. Here we go over SPX-A, SPX-P, full complex, and 0DT. Keep in mind that this week is an expiration week on this Friday, and we have expiration on this Wednesday. For those that missed open mic last night, that's been posted into WAP, so y'all can go review that. Add everyone. Last night's open mic has been posted to WAP for your review. Open mic recordings. Sorry, and I know people that are not in Discord, this isn't what you tuned in to look for, but see how the sausage is made, right? So first off, going over SPX-A, again, why SPX options markets? A, growth of the options markets, significant part of modern market structure, day-to-day movement impacted by options market. SPX, massive market, gives us a good indication of general sentiment in the market, positioning, all that good stuff. SPX-A, right, call dominated above and below spot price, looks good. 6,500 key downside level we want to maintain. Well above that right now, 6,600 is kind of the key first overhead level, so just be cognizant of that, kind of bumping our heads against that. Bumped our heads against that on Friday, I am pretty sure. Yeah, kind of failed right there, so potentially look for the retest, but net everything looks fine. True zeros pointing higher, looks good. Gex ratio a bit elevated here, so just keep that in mind. Our back testing shows between like 0.6 and 0.2 or 0.8 and 1.2, something like that. It's kind of the extremes of the range, but nonetheless right above 1, so that's good to see. But right, just from like a market awareness point of view, a bit kind of elevated levels up here, so that just means the incremental buyer is going to need to come in, call speculator is going to need to come in to progress this higher. Historically, that's been tough to do at these levels, but that doesn't mean it can't be done, right? So again, just market awareness at these levels. Looking at delta balance, right, that looks fine. Not ideal, right, that this week's expiration for the right-hand plane above spot price is kind of moving right at 0, but out in time, that looks fine. Here, right, just looking at this week's expiration, again, SPX-A, that's your quarterly, your monthly expirations, kind of where the longer term money plays. Almost 4.5 million contracts open there versus SPX. Sorry, that's just 4.5 million for this week's expiration. Sorry, I got confused there. So yeah, not really a ton else to say here, right? Just looking, call dominated structure. So we gotta move. Come on, buddy. Next, we're looking at SPX-P. Right, this is kind of where your short-term traders are. This is your weekly 0DTE, all those good expirations, a lot shorter term, kind of rolling over faster, I should say, as opposed to the SPX-A is longer term capital, doesn't quite move as quickly. So in terms of like a sequencing point of view, you generally see changes in the structure first in SPX-P, then they manifest in the SPX-A, which, if like we're going to see a downside move, right? SPXP is going to deteriorate a lot quicker in terms of puts coming in the structure than if like that move is going to sustain for a longer term point of view. Then that manifests in the SPXA. So like when we got that large correction in April, the April timeframe, right? You know, go back, look at that time period. Probably easiest to go look at the videos rather than going through the Discord, but you can just see, right, those dashboards were just populated with, you know, put dominated structure. That's clearly not what we have right now, but just understanding what the what that kind of sequence of events looks like. Again, call dominated structure above the spot price. The key level here, top of our transition zone, is 65.70, right? Top of the blue box right there. So just something to be cognizant of. We have a little bit of commentary on JPM short strike right there. You know, above that level may have a little bit of influence, but you know, net it's kind of being offset right now. Looking at true zeros, moving sideways. So I mean, not ideal as moving as if they were moving higher, but right, so long as they're just not, you know, water falling to the downside, that's fine. Looking at the GEX ratio here, again, kind of middle of the range, so it looks a little bit better than the SPXA. However, you know, pretty aggressive move lower from Friday into today, so I want to see that. A little bit of divergence. Again, just some market awareness. Looking at delta balance, looks fine. Charm. So looking at 0 DTE, well, we'll get to that after we review the structure, actually. One thing forgot to hit on at the beginning was our market trend model, right? Built off the tick index. Don't know what that is. You can invest a PD of that. Simply put, it's just a way of kind of measuring buying versus selling under the hood, as opposed to just looking at a price chart. So looking at the short-term, longer-term trends, both are moving higher, so that's constructive to see. Our rainbow ribbon, that's generally a 1 to 3 week signal versus our railroad tracks, which is a shorter term white ribbon, kind of a 1 to 3 day signal. And then filtered tick, cumulative tick are both good intraday measures. So filtered tick will be looking for, you know, large buying like we saw last Thursday, or if you're bearish, you want to see large selling. And then cumulative tick, we obviously want to see trending in the direction of price as well. Moving on to 0 DT structure. So transition zones, very neat and tidy, right? 65.70, 65.80. That's both your DEX and your DEX and GEX transition. So based off of delta, based off of gamma distribution in the structure. Then looking at net OI distribution of the structure from the pre-market. Top of our drunken tailor range is 6,600. So right, key psychological level. Ton of, you know, speculation sitting at that level, just looking at the gradient, you know, kind of thinking about moving from the top of the DEX transition zone, thinking about kind of pushing a boulder up the hill. So it's going to take kind of a lot of effort to exert and get us above the 6,600 strike. But if we're able to do that, then, you know, we have those significant strikes flipped from out of the money to in the money. Now those are more supportive as opposed to working against us. Then above 6,600, 6610, 6615, both significant strikes overhead. So you can think like a little bowl is being formed between 6605 and 6610. So we like to say, you know, kind of a marble could be moving around between 6600 and 6610, unless we see some significant buying come into the market and help propel us higher, right? Because you can see, looking at the net open or the put open interest, which I could annotate this, but you can see there's really no activity up here. So what that means is that kind of fear component of folks closing puts, which adds fuel to the upside, is not present. So really, we're going to be reliant on, you know, incremental buying coming in to help propel us higher. But again, above 6,600, looking to 6,615, above 6,615, then really going to need to see that buying step in. And then to the downside, right, first would be breaking 65.75, and then bottom part of the drunken sailor range is 65.60. And then kind of the same thought process, right? You know, 65.50 negative GEX on the day. So that's kind of the downside, kind of capped the downside for now, unless we see just a complete collapse in the market. So if that's clear, not clear, please let me know. That's kind of the 0 DT rant, SPX rant for the day. We'll get into individual equities here in a second for swing trading. Other thing to note, right, so we're getting back to our net stack command. This is just a summary of the 3D surface models that we offer, right? We offer them on all the 4 key Greeks. So left-hand plane, right-hand, or left-hand plane strike, right-hand plain strike. Just think of those as the major peaks in a 3D surface model. So we have above and below spot price. So below spot price, 6,500 is a massive strike. Above spot price, 6,600 is a massive strike. So kind of the two key goalposts there. Again, 6,600 we know is a key upside level. 6,615 we also know is a key upside level, right? 6,600 top of the Jungle Taylor range. 6,615 is where, you know, the dominant kind of speculation for the day rests. Right, then we have charm working on our favor, all things equal. Obviously, Vanna, you know, if we get a spike in volatility, it could kind of exacerbate a move to the downside if we see puts piling in that as well. Kind of a reinforcing cycle. So yeah, I mean, that's really it, right? We have a ton of named levels here in the write-up, you know, kind of long, short ideas off the multiple levels. So you guys can give that a read if you want to in the Discord. For now, we're going to move on to swing trading unless you guys have any questions. And, you know, in terms of individual stocks, put them in the chat. Let me know. We can look at them. So yeah, I haven't really gone through the watch list yet today. So that's something you guys can watch me do live right now. I want to go to alarms. I want to pause all, then I want to delete all. Yeah, so in terms of swing trading, like I'm super light in my portfolio right now. The only name I have is Intel, right? Held P-Trans basically to the penny on Friday, so there's no reason to exit. Finding support there again in the pre-market, so moving up nicely. Yeah, no reason to be getting out of the stock right now. I think I was using this local low as kind of my stop. I got in on September 4th, so just chopping sideways, premiums burning, that's fine. I sold premium in the name, so that's fine. Okay, but swing trading, sorry, what we do, so there's kind of three pillars of our swing trading. There's our P2P strategy, which is P transit plus GEX. Those are two key levels of ours to the upside, 100% mechanical strategy. You will know the entries and exits the night before. We post those for you in the Discord. So here's our entry scan, here's our exit scan. So like Costco, we will be entering. However, keep in mind that the portfolio we're running, we've been running since July of 23 is full right now, 98% allocated. So we're not putting on any more trades until we exit trades. Those trades being exited, we don't have any in the portfolio. But keep in mind, like if you're starting the portfolio today, it's not going to match our portfolio, and that's fine because they were started at two different points in time. But right, the population is the same, all that good stuff is the same. So you shouldn't really be, you know, getting heartburn, you know, because it doesn't exactly match this. It's not realistic. Couple things to note, right? Just overall in the strategy itself, it's a very high win rate strategy. So 72% win rate over 336 trades we've taken since July of 23, and that pretty much mirrors what the overall backtesting we've done from, you know, 2013 to present day, 2013 because that's when our data starts. So we have full write-ups on that. If you go to gammaedge.us, right, free, well, you can start with the blog if you want. We have article right there, P-Transit plus GEX, but, you know, also free courses, GameEdge FastPass. Sign up for this flagship education course, exactly what our paid members get. You get our methodology, you get our tools, you get strategies, you get frameworks, you get quick start guides, all that good stuff. You know, I know it's not ideal to have to read stuff when you join something, but unfortunately there's a learning curve to really anything new that you're reading, and we try to make it as easy as possible in here. We give you a quick start guide if you're a 0DT trader, so if you don't want to read every course or every lesson, then here's the 5 most important things that you need to know. So give that a go if you want to. You can sign up there, and yeah, that's kind of that. So getting back to swing trading itself, right? So with the P-Transit plus GEX strategy, we have something new that we've started called the wheel. Right? Well, the wheel is not inherently new, right? But we've just added a GameEdge flair to it, which is, you know, we're adding kind of a simple momentum kind of trend, making sure that we're, you know, identifying those stocks strongest to the upside using the Minervini trend template. If anyone's familiar with this, it's simply just finding those stocks that are trending nicely at momentum to the upside. And then we're adding gamma edges, you know, kind of call dominated thought process where we're looking for stocks that are called dominated above the spot price. We're utilizing our proprietary scans that are looking for just that, and then trying to find those favorable stocks. So we produce a list there, looking at call dom del, which call dominated scan, all call dom del, which means all Greeks are call dominated, all that good stuff. And then lastly, there's kind of a discretionary thing that we do too. So every day, I post, or most days I should say, I post 2 watch lists. I post a bull and a bear list, which very simply, it just helps us identify those key stocks. It's based off the spreadsheet that we post in the morning with our data presented there. I've just built my own little database, so it makes it very easy. So like the 100 billion bull list is market cap over 100 billion. Why? Because I don't want to be messing with meme stocks that I could gap up or down 25% overnight. I just want those largest, most liquid stocks. Population is plenty big, right? It's okay. You don't catch every single stock, right? Just focus on a handful, and that's really all that you need. So obviously this gives me 65 stocks, but I don't necessarily go through them all, right? And then above 21 EMA. Why 21 EMA? Because that's just an important technical indicator that the market follows, whether you believe that or not. Price does respect to 21 EMA. So again, just stocks that are large, liquid, sufficient volume, makes sense to use our tools on it, trending to the upside, and then they're also call dominated in terms of their option market analysis, above the spot price. So those are all the factors you want of a bullish stock, foundations of a bullish move higher. Does that mean it's going to move higher? No, that's why you have risk management in place. And then we have the bear list, which is basically opposite conditions of the bull list. And these are stocks that either you can look to short or just not get long. So, the market is generally strong right now, so not necessarily looking to put a ton of short positions on. But yeah, these are just definitely not stocks that I'm interested in getting long. So with that, and then what I simply do, right, like my process is, again, I'm just utilizing my scans because I know that these are strong stocks. And then what I'm looking for is I'm looking for them to be above the P-trans level, because it's our key kind of first upside level we want stocks to be above, because above that, they should be moving higher because they're in a call-dominated regime. They're outside of the transition zone, right? And then what I'm looking for is simply just a way to size my risk on the chart. And so what I like is when a stock breaks above the prior day high. Reason for that is because what is moving higher should continue to move higher, and if it doesn't, then that's information, right, that your directional thesis, something is not right about that. And then your stop can just be like below the low of prior day low or swing low, whatever you want, but it just makes it very simple. And then above P-trans, so basically you're just stacking all of these favorable bullish conditions in your favor, right? Above 21 EMA, call dominated, breaking above prior day high, above P-trans, like that's 4 or 5 factors right there that are hallmarks of a bullish stock moving higher. Yes, it could reverse and move lower, but over a large sample, it should work out in your favor. And so yeah, we can just start going through stocks here. Obviously Tesla is just completely ripped. Like, that's not a tradable name for me right now. It's up another 7-8% in the pre-market, so that's too extended for myself. But we were in this one, I think we got in here or something, and yeah, the trade on it, premium burned away, but obviously it's just completely ripped right now. So looking for some kind of pullback in that name, potentially. Intel, I'm already in. Apple. Apple looks fine to the upside. Let me go to AAPL. Yeah, and if you guys have stocks you want to look at, just put them in the chat. We can get to it. Yeah, Apple looks fine. Its plus Gex is sitting right at 240, so not necessarily a ton of upside move left in the name, but COI at 250, which means we have a lot of speculation higher. It's not necessarily near-term speculation, but nonetheless, it's above P-trans, above 0 Gex, so all that stuff is a good sign. Amazon. Yeah, Oracle's on this list. We'll get to it in a second. Amazon's fine, right? Holding P-trans in the pre-market, so you know, breaking above prior day high, so yeah, it's not the worst look. I'm gonna be monitoring that one today. Palantir, yeah, I mean the time to get in Palantir was on Friday when it broke above prior day high. So nothing to do there, but it extended for me unfortunately. Google, I mean just completely ripped. Nothing to do there. Bank of America, nothing to do there. You know, above plus GEX above P-Trans. So I mean it's had a nice move, just not tradable in my opinion. Here is Broadcom. Bit extended for myself, but you know, sitting right at P-Trans. So if you wanted to get in this name, that's kind of a good level. Meta, see, Meta looks interesting. I just know looking at the structure last week that 750 is really P-Trans and not the 755 or 756 is that showing. Right, it's just because of this node up at 762 is the reason 765 is that, but really we can see just using I as a filter that this right here is a transition zone. So 750 going to be a key level to maintain. Let's see if it can break above, you know, Friday's high. If it can do that, then it looks, you know, more interesting to get long here. Not super interested in trading the foreign holdings. United Healthcare, that was a name we were in. We got out of it last week for profits above plus GEX, so nothing to do there right now. Citi was another name that we were in last week. You know, took profits on the name up at plus GEX at 100, nothing to do there. MU, you know, completely skyrocketed. Another name that we were in. Took profits on that last week. So those three were actually pretty good winners last week, but obviously this is just completely ripped. But right, that's just the nature of trading. Like whatever your strategy is, like I sold put spreads in those names, so obviously I'm not going to capture all of this massive upside move, but there's trade-offs to every strategy, right? You just got to be comfortable with what you're in. Yeah. So Taiwan Semi, you know, massive move higher, sitting at plus GEX right now. It's chopping around that level, so really no surprise what's happening. We need to see kind of this entire structure move up, P-Trans move up, plus GEX move up to kind of give us our next target higher. Google, already went through that. Baba, you know, nice move. Baba's crazy though. I mean, those foreign holdings, you know, gap up and down all the time. So Uber, this is another name that we were in. I feel like we took a break even on this name. Sitting right at P-Trans, so maybe get another opportunity, see if it can break above prior day high. That would be constructive to see. Oracle, someone asked about Oracle in the chat, so here you go. I just don't think the levels are in the script, so we can look at it here. Yeah, so 300, kind of the massive level of speculation. That's where plus GEX is at. Yeah, I mean, it looks, you know, call dominated above the spot price. 300 is just kind of that key level that you want to see maintained right now. It's below that level. Well, it's starting to reclaim that level actually in the pre-market, so that's kind of what I would be looking at. But yeah, again, you know, had massive earnings, massive increase in volume. You know, I'd probably let it settle down a little bit more before getting super active into it. That's just me. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. Wells Fargo, again, constructive looking name. WFC, yeah, I know market's about to open, so if you guys drop off, that's fine. Yeah, 85 is kind of the upside target right now. I want to see 80 hold. And then this is kind of where I start to lose interest, like in terms of, you know, we've been through a lot of the bigger stocks. So AT&T, all right, looks fine. Verizon probably looks fine. ExxonMobil, pretty choppy recently. Market just opened. JP Morgan, nice move. Palo Alto Networks is one we were long a couple weeks ago. So now I'm just skimming quickly, trying to see if there's anything else. Qualcomm doesn't look bad here. Qcom. Yeah, 160. I mean, seeing speculation on 170, so it's not awful. Morgan Stanley, Shop. Yeah, Shopify up to 150. So yeah, see if we can hold 143. We really want to see it get above 145 and then get a move to 150. Berkshire, J&J. AMAT looks kind of interesting here, right? Last Thursday, kind of large outside move, consolidation day on Friday. Let's see if we can break up other consolidation from Friday. So yeah, you guys get it now, right? You guys get how to use a watch list, how to go through the stocks. Obviously, like apply your process to it, not just my process, but that's kind of how it goes. So again, market's open. We'll switch over to the Discord, but appreciate everyone's time, and we'll either see you in the Discord or see you later. So, or see you tomorrow. So thanks. Bye.